What's the word, YouTube? You know what it is. Big Will, back. Another episode of Life After Prison. First time you saved, first time here? Hey, hit that like and subscribe. On this channel I do reactions. I tell my time in prison, before prison, after. What led me there. I do reactions to dirtbag cops who take advantage of their authority. I put on blast them pedophiles. These are the things you like. Hey, hit that like and subscribe. Help me help the channel grow. I'm just starting, I'm new. Couple months old. But hey, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a safe and blessed New Year. Today's video, because on New Year's I've seen the things that people will still do with drugs, right? The things that got me to prison. I see a lot of videos and they try to tell you how you feel, what you're doing, why you're doing it for drugs. When some of them make videos that have never even taken an opiate or smoked crack in their life, have taken Valiums. My days of using illegal narcotics started out with pharmaceuticals, right? When I was young, 13 years old, 12 years old, I started taking Valiums. At 10, I started smoking weed with an uncle of mine. I never smoked cigarettes in my life, don't like it. Don't like the taste, don't like I can't inhale the smoke. Tried it one time, didn't like it, never did it again. But smoked weed at 10 and loved it. Because I love to joke, play around, you know what I mean? Have fun, relax. I'm a very leisure person. I'm not the type of person that rush, hey, let's go. So I started out with marijuana at 10. And like I said, I loved it. And then I tried a Valium. And the way it let my anxiety and aggravation, the way it just let it ease and go, I fell hard for the benzos. One led to 2, 2 led to 4, 4 led to 8, and so on and so on. Until I was taking 15 or 20 at a time. 8 to 15, usually at a time. And I would wake up the next day with not a clue about yesterday. Okay? And I did it for years, and that's what led me to my first ever charge of that's what led to my first ever charge of being arrested for Grand Theft Auto. 17 years old, I had a license, I had a legal car, had a license, but the joy of taking someone else's car and stripping it down was the thing I did as a teenager, and it was fun to us. take someone else's car, strip it down, make some money at the same time. It was an adventure. But you start mixing in the volumes and you don't have a care or a clue, right, as to what you're doing. You don't have a care. You don't care what's going on. You don't remember. So the next time it's just as easy, because you just don't remember what happened last time. You know? It always stays with you how to open the door with a screwdriver, then pull it, and you're off. Today's cars are a little bit harder. They're electric. Right? Everything's got a kill switch. The keys got chips in them. All that stuff, you know. But the old cars, pop a screwdriver in, bing, bing, pop the ignition out, put a screwdriver, and you're good. 6 seconds, 8 seconds, you're off driving away in someone's car. Racing down the highway, you know. But that was a daily routine. I got out of school and I got expelled in 9th grade at the end of the year for fighting, for skipping school. I would take the bus to school every day, drop all my friends off, walk around the school, jump back on the bus, go home. Take some Valium, sleep, wake up after school, get back on the bus, meet all my friends at the bus terminal, and the night would begin. Smoke some weed, drink, take a couple of Valiums. Then it progressed. Valiums, we were kids, we tried the cocaine. Cocaine I never liked. I would do it occasionally. All my friends liked it. They would do cocaine and we'd have a ball, right? They would drink, the cocaine would level them off. It was a good time. I didn't like cocaine. Cocaine made my throat numb to the point where I felt like I was choking. I couldn't breathe. I have asthma. So when my throat would be numb and I would feel like it was closing, for me being smoking weed, I'd be high and I would think that I'm dying because I can't breathe. So I stayed away from the cocaine. Like I said, I'm a very leisure guy. My mind can't handle the speed. If I was to take an Adderall or a speed, I would probably drive myself to the hospital thinking that I'm having a heart attack or I'm dying. That's the type of person I am. But for many years, many years, I was that person. When I grew up in the projects, there was drug addicts all around that did anything for drugs, right? You can give them a laundry list of food, clothing, you name it. Give someone a list and they're going to get it, right? You need tools, they're bringing it back for you. Oh, you want fishing equipment, they're bringing it back for you. Oh, you want some new sunglasses, they're bringing Oakleys to you. They're bringing Ray-Bans to you. This was a daily thing. I was always a worker, always supported my family, always worked for my funds. Until I was 22 years old. Was I? No, I'm sorry. Until I was 30 years old. 30 years old, my apartment burned down. It burned down to the ground. I found the fire. I found the fire in the cellar. It was a 9-tenement building. I was the one who went in the 9. There was 3 hallways. I went upstairs from the 1st floor to the 3rd floor and all 3 hallways to get everybody out. I was the person who found the fire. The house that we lived in, it had a slumlord. He it wasn't even my house. It was a girl that I met. She lived there. I was in her house. She was in the shower. The fire alarm went off. The fire started in the cellar, in the dryer, electrical. It started from the lint. From the lint, it spread right up the walls. Once it went up the walls, it went right to the roof. It caved in the roof and then started from the floor. But from that fire, it burnt 40% of my lungs. I used to work for Clear Channel Communications. They put up billboards. I had a great job, but it always worked. I was never the type to slack off, right? Until I couldn't breathe anymore. So now I have asthma and I can't breathe due to the fire, burning 40% of my lungs. So people hear me wheezing, I won't even know that I'm wheezing, right? But other people can hear it. I'm just so used to it. But I was the type, when drug addicts were around, growing up in the projects, that I didn't want them around my family because I knew what they would do for their drugs. Okay? I knew that if I left my house open, or if I took a little trip or something, that my house was next on the list. You know? They do whatever they need for the drugs. And so I never wanted them around. I always tried to keep them away. I was the type that would go and collect money from drug addicts for the drug dealer. Hey, this guy owes me money. I would go, I would break somebody's nose so they can't snort. If I knew they snorted, I'd break their nose. If I knew they shot up, I would break their fingers so they can't shoot up. Pay your bill. That's. And although I liked people as people, I didn't like drug addicts. And lo and behold, what happened? I ended up becoming one. I became a drug addict. I sold drugs for many years. Landed me in and out of prison. In and out of prison. The things I did. I drove to get my drugs. I drove to sell my drugs without a license because my license got suspended when I was 17 years old. And I got my first charge from Grand Theft Auto. My license got suspended. So from there, I would drive and get pulled over and not have a license, and I would catch another charge. Driving with a suspended license. Driving with a suspended license. It would get suspended further. It would get suspended. My license got suspended in 1999. I didn't get it back until 2018 when I got out of prison the last time. Then there 20 years I didn't have my license. 30 years. 99, 2009, 2020, almost 29 years I didn't have my license. Right? 09, 19, 99, 09, 19, 20 years I didn't have my license, right? It was suspended. I would get arrested for selling drugs, it would get suspended. The only way I was able to get my license back finally is when they wiped out the law that if your license was suspended for drug charges, you can now have it reinstated. It couldn't be suspended for drug charges anymore. So when they wiped that law off the books, I was able to finally get my license back after so many years. Started in 2004. Doing time was the first time I did time, 2004. And it just progressed, right? Progressed from there. But I see many people talk about drug addicts and the things they'll do to get drugs and how they feel. But the one word that I don't like that people use is junkie. When you get addicted to drugs, and most people start out because of an operation due to a broken bone, a hernia. That's how I started out using opiates. I had an operation, I had a hernia operation, and they gave me OxyContin. And one OxyContin led to a vicious 17-year cycle of on and off drug use, in and out of prison, the death of many friends and a couple family members, losing everything I owned several times, and it just progresses. But we're not junkies, okay? Junkies is a term that they use because people will call it junk. You would use junk, right? And then other people use it as a term. Well, they're a junkie. Look at them. They're all dirty. They don't shower. They're sick. They're sick people. And you get depressed. On top of being addicted to drugs, and you can't move or you can't function without them, you get depressed and you get in a cycle. And when you try to get clean, the drugs call you. And people say, what do you mean they call you? And it's like the drugs have a... When you see people do things and they give up their kids, your kids, and you give up your marriage, or you have a family member that'll OD, but it doesn't stop you. It's not because you don't want to stop. It's not because you don't want to stop. It's because you can't stop. It's because your body learns how to live with it. It can't live without it. And people will go to detox and get clean, but their body can't live without it. You can't function without it anymore. You start shaking and your whole life changes. And it's not something that somebody wants to live. They don't want to be sick every day. So until you've been there and you've been a drug addict and you've done opiates or you've been a crack addict, don't judge somebody. Don't judge somebody until you've been in their shoes. Because looking into someone's yard from outside the fence might look much different than it really is. And you might think someone wants to be strung out and addicted to drugs, and they have to steal to get high because they burnt all their bridges and sold everything they own. And like I said, if you've never been there, you just don't know. I was fortunate enough to always be able to sell drugs when I started. I always knew the right people. Like I said, I grew up in the projects, so I never really had to steal. And don't get me wrong, I've pawned some jewelry and I've done some fucked up things on different low points in my life, but I never was one of them persons that were ever homeless. You know, my rock bottom was I lost my job and I can't afford to pay for my drugs, so now I have to sell it. But selling it wasn't a rock bottom because I always had the drugs, and it always gave me money and drugs. So it was like a double whammy. Until you've been there, don't judge somebody. You never know what someone's going through. You never know how somebody's living. And sometimes someone only needs a hello, and you will change that person's life. When someone's having a bad day and they're depressed, and you walk up to them and know that they're hurting, and you don't look on them on disgust. You don't look at them with disregard and disrespect and hatred in your mind and your heart and your eyes. You look at them with pity, right? And just look at someone and say, hello, God bless you, I hope you're doing okay. And to change someone's life, it's incredible. But it's just a little message, man. Don't judge somebody until you've been there. You know? When you're reading someone else's story, don't judge them. Judge yourself. There's a saying in the Bible, let he is who without sin cast the first stone, right? And no one ever casts that first stone because everybody has their own sin. And we're all guilty of something, right? So, come on, buddy, you going or what? So, just know, treat people with respect. Keep your mind open. And have a blessed day. And just know that you could change someone's world. You could change someone's life just by helping somebody. And with that, it's your boy Big Will. I'll see you on the next one. We'll have another part to this video, because it gets much deeper. You know, it gets much deeper. But we'll see you on the next one. It's your boy Big Will. Hey, don't forget, like and subscribe. See you on the next one. Peace.